This episode was recorded before Inzaghi was appointed as interim manager.
And as the managerial merry-go-round hits breakneck speed, we're sat watching and slowing down, thinking about how we're going to spend our summer with no football. Welcome to the Anglo-Italian pod. As always, I am Rory, and I'm joined by...
Tommy. You can find us on Instagram at Anglo-Italian pod and on Twitter at Italian Anglo Pod. Mr. Rory Criscuolo, how are you on this last Friday episode of our show?
I'm kind of sad that it's like the last of a routine. Every week I've been looking forward to like Monday night, live show, Thursday, research, do the show. It's kind of like, you know, my nice little routine that keeps me out of trouble. And I'm kind of worrying about what I'm going to do to fill the time. But apart from that, I'm good. You know, no Arsenal to stress me out. Emery won a trophy, which we'll talk about later. That kind of cheered me up in a weird way. And yeah, the sun is out in Milan. It's a beautiful city in the summer, and I'm starting to kind of re-realize it. How are you, Tommy?
I'm doing fine. I'm a little bit nervous about the whole situation at Inter Milan. We're going to talk about it in depth in the Euro review. I think Inter Milan just need to appoint a manager quick. Who knows if by the time you're listening to this pod, you will already know who the next manager is. I really hope not, because it would mean that it was kind of a panic decision, like last second. While to me it's something that requires a little bit of time. But another thing that I wanted to say, Rory, off topic, this year has been great, but with all the lockdowns, and one thing about this podcast, it's kept me alive during the intense lockdowns that we've had and everything. But at the same time, I've hit probably the peak of a single man's life today when I typed on Google, can you eat ramen leftovers after 3 days?
Oh my God, Tommy! Oh,
it was good. It's dancing in my belly right now.
Oh God! As long as there was no egg or something, like man.
No, the egg I had already eaten it at the restaurant 3 days ago. No, it was good, guys. I discovered that you can actually keep ramen leftovers for 7 days as long as you warm them up, or if you want to keep them cold, you can make a cold ramen salad. But I decided not to do that.
That sounds grim.
Rory, I will let you tell the listeners.
Are we going to go into a cooking podcast? I think I could do a cooking podcast.
Ooh, I heard you can make a sexy curry.
Man, I'm pretty good at cooking, you know, without blowing my own trumpet too hard. I think I'm all right, you know.
All right.
The missus seems to enjoy it anyway, or she's polite. I don't know. It's one of them.
Well, we have already had a sort of a collaboration this year with an Instagram page called Gente a Cena, People at Dinner. Who knows if next year maybe we will have a serious one. They will come on our pod. We will cook some
Food at football. Figured it out.
We've got it. Copyright already. Rory, I will let you tell our listeners before we go to the Euro review what's going to happen on Saturday night, tomorrow night.
I'm kind of getting a little bit nervous. Me and Tommy are going to be doing our first ever watch along, and it is, of course, the European Champions League final. We are going to be streaming, as always, on YouTube and Twitch from around 8 p.m. We'll do a bit of pre-game, right? Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Right.
Yeah. So no, we're gonna be online. We're gonna be online at 8 p.m. 1 hour before kickoff, so we've got time to set the tone, get ready, drink the first few beers, and then at 9 p.m. kickoff. We are gonna give it a shot, guys. We've seen a lot of people doing it. We know that we've got a solid following, and we're ready to go at it.
So, yeah, exactly. Come on down, join us, kind of slip us some messages, keep us company, and we can talk our way through what I think is going to be quite an interesting final. Tommy is more Chelsea, I'm more Man City. Classic odd couple sitcom escapades could happen. Who knows? But yeah, we will see you there, and I'm looking forward to it. So, apart from that...
We are ready to go, but we also have a very special guest today, Mr. Raffaele De Vita, an Italian man who's made a footballing career in Scotland. He was a great guest. Rory, once again, props to you.
Thank you. And he's weirdly got a Scottish accent. Honestly, halfway through the interview, I kind of forgot that he was Italian. I just thought I was talking to a Scottish man. So listen out for that one. Really interesting interview, really interesting career. It was a great interview. I really enjoyed it. But now it is time to get up in the blimp.
One last dance.
And for the final time before we deflate it and put it in the garage for the summer, me and Tommy are up in the Euro review blimp. But at the moment, there's not been much football to watch, but there is plenty to talk about. And I think you all know where we're going to start. We'll get to the actual football later. But Tommy, how was the 3 days of happiness between lifting the Scudetto and whatever the fuck happened on Wednesday?
All right, so we apologize to Villarreal fan. We are going to cover in depth the final very soon. But if we had started from Villarreal, you guys know Rory is an Arsenal fan. I'm an Inter fan. There would have been just a giant elephant in the room, and we kind of want to get it out of the way right away. Antonio Conte is no longer the manager of Inter Milan.
I just need to ask quickly, how gutted are you? How gutted are you?
Well, considering that I think he's one of the best managers in the world, and considering that it's been 2 incredible years, a Europa League final, a Scudetto after 11 years, seeing how much the team was behind him, seeing the group he has created, seeing all the praises from the players, from the fans. I was becoming part of that too. We've got Michael and I. Michael is my longtime Inter buddy. We've got some Inter fans who were telling us, do not sing any chants with Conte's name when you go out of the stadium. And we're just like, why not? I don't know, because he's a Juventus legend. He came to Inter Milan just for the money and everything. Look, I loved what he did at Inter Milan, and I was looking forward to next season. But I can't. Now, Rory, yeah, I'm taking it very calmly. By the way, Rory, I have a question for you. Do you think a team's DNA exists? And if it does, what is it exactly, and how can it carry out throughout time?
Okay, so you mean the type of teams that you historically are?
Yeah, like historically.
Okay, so, well, it is oh, God. So if you look at, like, you often say Inter are a team that have been based on good defenses, right? They've been defensively very good, but not the most exciting attacking football. Now, this would happen from, off the top of my head, you've initially got success by being a defensive team. So then you've stuck with that by getting similarly minded managers. Because you're a big club and you can attract the big players, that has still provided some level of success. And then at that point, it just becomes ingrained. I think the fans know what to expect. The fans know what they enjoy. And no matter who your owners are, they feel like this identity of the club needs to be carried on. So I think if you probably, and again, I've no idea, but I imagine if you went back to Inter's very, very earliest Scudettos, they were probably, and Italian football at the time was much more catenaccio anyway, but I imagine they were very, very defensively minded teams or defensively solid teams, and that culture carried on. Now, I saw something today, I don't know if this is what you're getting at, about the type of managers they've got and the trend that there's been in there.
Your answer is actually very good, because there is a DNA connected to the style of play of the team. My question was more, I was thinking of the last 2 great managers that Inter Milan have had, right. Mourinho and Conte. Different stories, but at the apex, at the climax of the story, the 2 managers want out. So it's just funny. I was talking about it yesterday with my friend, and we're like, this team's DNA, like, it exists, but what is it? Is it just an aura? Is it that winning at Inter Milan carries with it so many pressures that then when you finally win, you kind of look back and you're like, man, I've done something incredible. Can I do it again? You rethink of all the work that you've put into it, and you're like, it's too much pressure. I want out. Now, I don't know, but there are a lot of similarities with Mourinho and Conte. I don't know. We'll get to the reasons why he's leaving, but Mourinho wins the Champions League, doesn't even take the flight back to Milan. He stays in Madrid and signs a contract with Real. Conte, he wins, and after 3 days, he's gone. We'll talk about the reasons, but very, very similar stories. And man, it's like, it's just like right now, we'll talk also about who's going to replace him, but I'm just like, what the fuck, guys? Why do you think there is this thing that when you achieve something big with Inter Milan, you kind of want out?
I think I don't follow the pressure thing because Mourinho went into Real Madrid, and as much pressure as there is at Inter, there's more pressure at Real Madrid, I would argue. And Conte may well be following that well-trod path as well. But I think the similarity more is that they knew, well, Mourinho especially, I think, knew he was at the end of a cycle at that point, right? That team had reached his peak. If he carried on the next year, he wasn't going to do better, and that's why he left. With Conte, I think he doesn't see this continuing without further investment, and I think that's why he's taken the step. I think I never got the vibe that he wanted to leave or that he was going to be here on a short-term basis, apart from the fact that he's very open about what he expects from the board and what he expects. He always said, he's always the kind of guy that if you don't back me, then why am I here? I'm just going to go. So I think for him to look back and say, I ended Inter's Scudetto drought, he will always, that is incredible. Of course it is. But I think that the reason he's leaving is just that it's just because they can't back him financially. And I feel like Inter, when Mourinho left, it was the same thing. They couldn't then financially back him. And that's because Serie A has been financially behind other leagues for a while. That's because Suning, we still don't really know what's been going on the whole year with the wages and with how much they have to sell to buy. I think it's always based on finances.
Yeah, I mean, football is finances in the end. Look, the Mourinho team, it was the end of a cycle. It made sense. He knew that he couldn't get anything out of those players the following year. We should have sold it that summer. That was one of the big mistakes that we made. We should have sold a few players. But this is another thing. Right now, the media wants to make it sound like Zhang is ready to sell Skriniar, De Vrij, Lukaku, Lautaro Martinez, Bastoni. No, this is not the case.
No,
look,
of course
in
not.
Football, it's all about also for the stability. I understand that there might need to be a big player to sell. It's not the end of the world. Let's talk about it. Juventus, during that 9-year winning streak, they sold big names. They did sell Paul Pogba to Manchester United for a shit ton of money. But man, that was a very heartbreaking goodbye for all of the Juventus fans.
Yeah.
Guess what? Did they recover from that? Yeah, they reached another Champions League final. It's also about and if I look, yesterday I was talking with Michael about what are the biggest mistakes Inter have done since we've won the treble. Not selling at the right time or buying players that were overvalued. The fucking João Marios and Kondogbia, for example, right? João Mario is still an Inter Milan player. That's incredible.
Will not hear a bad word said about Kondogbia. He is still, for that one performance for Monaco against Arsenal, he is still one of the greatest midfielders I've ever seen.
No, but the thing is this one. Now, Conte, our friend Luca, 2 episodes ago, used this word a lot. He's a fox, he's lie to talk about Lotito, Lazio's president. Conte is not an idiot, and he can make it sound like it's starting to sound like the Inter don't have the same ambitions that he has. And I just think that he doesn't, there is something bigger. He would like another top player that the board cannot buy, but this doesn't mean that there isn't a sustainable way to get into. I think that when you win a Scudetto after 11 years, you also have to be very clear-minded. Now, what do we need to do to not have another 10 years of Europa League and fucking Villa and Kondogbia and João Mario at midfield and Jonathan as a fucking left back? God damn it. So at this point, you just have to sit down and be like, maybe we need to sell, buy another few players with that money that can guarantee stability for the next few years. But the problem now is, who is going to be the manager? Who is going to be the manager? And who is going to be that player that we have to sell? There are increasing rumors that one player that we have to sell, he is the one with the biggest market interest, Lautaro Martinez. It might have to be Lautaro Martinez. Rumors were saying one among Lautaro Martinez, Skriniar, and right now I cannot think of the third name, Barella maybe, but Barella would be very, very tough to imagine even. I think it will be Lautaro Martinez. I don't know.
No, I think definitely a part of this is Conte's being very stubborn and being like, no, you can't sell any of them. And that is unrealistic. Because we know after COVID that every team is having to sell to buy. Like, Christ, the fire sale that is going on at Arsenal for us to try and upgrade our squad. We know, every club knows that to buy, you have to sell. So I think a part of this is Conte being stubborn and being Antonio Conte. Like, who's going to go? I think there's rumours all around the Prem now, as there are in all the English papers. The second that there's a team abroad that are successful, they all want to join the Prem, right? So there's all the stories about Lukaku, and I think I've seen stories about Hakimi to Arsenal's definitely picking up pace, by the way.
Also, Hakimi to PSG, they were saying.
Yeah. Honestly, I do suddenly feel a bit more confident about us getting Hakimi. I don't know why. Look,
I feel bad for you, Akraf.
Oh no! Come on, just think about the potential of winning a trophy at Arsenal. You'd be a god, Ashraf. You'd be a god. But anyway, I think Martinez would be the one I wouldn't want to sell. I'd rather sell Lukaku than Martinez, because I think Lukaku is how old is he now? 28, 29?
Lukaku is 20. He's just turned 28. Yeah.
28. Okay, so he's hitting his peak now. But look, Martinez is, I'm guessing again, 23, 24, right?
Yeah, 24.
I feel like I would rather sell Lukaku than Martinez. I think Martinez has possibly got a higher ceiling. I don't know. I think, I really like Martinez. I love watching him play. He's incredible.
Lukaku has been involved in, I think, 38 Serie A goals this year, assists and goals.
No, I'm not doubting. I just think Martinez has the potential to possibly be better. I don't know, at his peak, right? So I think Lukaku you could sell now for a lot of money, right? Martinez, you could hold for a few years and probably sell for more money. I don't think now is his highest market value, right? True. I feel like Lukaku's market value now is the highest it's ever going to be. So if you're looking for getting the most out of one player, I would argue, yes, Skriniar wouldn't be a bad shout. And I think Lukaku. But look, the fact that it's a shame for that Inter team, because we've sat here the whole year and said how much we love the chemistry between the players, and it felt like there was something happening. You know, last week we were talking, not now for the listeners, Tommy is welling up here, but it felt like, you were saying, let's get the second one next year, let's build something. So it is properly shit that this is happening. But I think being realistic, yeah, you're just going to have to say goodbye to one of them. I just think it's a shame, right?
Also it depends a lot on the next manager that we get, and we're going to get there right now. But the thing is this one, according to how this manager wants to play, there is a chance that he wants to play with a 4-man defense, and we can get rid at that point of one of our 3 center backs. And I think that one that would have very good market at the moment, unfortunately, is Alessandro Bastoni.
Wow, that's a good shout, yeah.
And another thing that last night I had a very interesting conversation with Michael about this. We were just kind of going off the top of our heads, and then we were like, "What?" Like Michael, he brought the example of Pogba. Michael should be in this podcast, because a lot of the stuff that I say comes.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
He basically was saying, that Juventus team had to sell. Let's think abroad, in England, for example. What's a club that has sold some big names but still maintained? Dude, Chelsea, after all, they are not one of the teams that has splurged the most irrationally. Look, come on, look at that last summer, Tommy, 220 million, whatever it was. Look at their sales. How much have they sold Hazard for? And how good of a bargain has that been for them? They sold him at the right fucking time for 110 million. Dude, and then you can splurge 110 million. Yeah, at that point, go buy, I don't know, a center back for 80 million. Do whatever you want with that money. But they've been stable. They've been up there. They've won leagues over the years, and they've had to sell players. They sold David Luiz to PSG for quite some money, I believe. Off the top of my head. But let's talk about managers. It seems like Juventus have appointed Massimiliano Allegri. He's officially back. Dude, this is like a love story. Here, listen up, listeners. Your girlfriend dumps you. You were madly in love with your girlfriend, and you kind of understand, the two of you, that you cannot be together anymore. But it's her. She's kind of forcing the hand. She's like making you say, yes, this is the right moment. For 2 years, you don't date anybody else. And 2 years later, your ex-girlfriend is like, hey, remember when
Is it only 2 years?
Dude, he's been not working for 2 years, and now he goes back to Juventus. And this time, I read a post that said they're going to have a baby this time. That baby being the Champions League, maybe. I don't think that's
well,
in
I need to promise that with a few people.
Yeah, no, they don't. I don't think that's in their short-term plans. But I think that Allegri is a great fucking appointment for Juventus. Also because, this is the last thing I'll say before passing it on to you, but Allegri is an aziendalista, we say in Italian. That is why he would have been perfect at Inter. It means that he embraces the club's mentality, and he will never say anything against the management, against the club in a press conference. The club tells him, we have 0 million to spend this summer. There we go, 0 million. He's not going to say anything. He just embraces the mentality, and at Inter, he would have been perfect.
I know very little about Allegri because the most of what I know about him is him being linked to jobs for the past 2 years. Obviously, I know he did an incredible job at Juve, winning 5 straight titles with him, right? But I think there's a trend at the moment of clubs kind of running out of ideas and just going back to, as you very well put it, their ex. And I feel like Juventus, they've tried the kind of, let's get a manager with a clear philosophy. They didn't give it any time despite him winning the league, and they sacked him. Then they tried the, let's bring a club legend, and that really didn't work. And now they've just gone, oh, fuck it. Should we just get that guy back who kept winning those things? And then we don't have to think about it. Yeah, cool. Let's do that. Then we don't have to think about it. And I think I just kind of get that vibe from it, that it's just the easiest way to get them out of this hole. What does worry me, that what's happened at Inter this week, I think, has basically handed the Scudetto to Juventus next year already, and the summer hasn't even started.
Oh shit! No, man. You see, that is what can't happen next.
But I think
year,
that's what's happened. Like, and okay, we're going to get onto who's going to be Inter's manager, right? Let's say it's Simone Inzaghi, right? He's been linked with it. I personally think that's a very uninspiring appointment.
Uninspiring.
I think he. Now, Lazio fans may absolutely murder me here, but I think he's done an okay job at Lazio, right? Lazio were always a team that were around top 6, top 4 anyway, right? What he's done is get them top 6, top 4. He got them out of the Champions League group stage, but now they've not qualified for the Champions League again. I feel like the job has been okay. I don't get... People are saying he's this great coach, and personally, I just don't see it. I see him as a good coach, but I just don't get what the hype is about. And I think for Inter, it's a bit like, okay, if you just want to qualify for top 4, then yeah, cool, get him. But
Sarri's a good name. I've always liked the Sarri, and the Sarri, I will say it here, and I will confirm it in other pods. I have said it in the past. I think he's one of the Napoli team that Sarri had played better football than Barcelona, in my opinion. It would be very exciting. Now, Sarri with the team that Inter have, yeah, we would need to go on the market a little bit. But another thing is that the Sarri has coached, like our friend Luca reminded in episode 50, he's coached at every level of Italian football. What does that mean? The board tells you need to play with a 3-5-2 because we cannot go in the market for left backs. He's going to play with a 3-5-2. He's a very adaptable person. He knows his football very fucking well. And I think that he's got a few chips on his shoulders because after doing incredible things wherever he's gone, he's won at Chelsea, he's won at Juventus, but in both clubs, he's been treated like shit. He was like an idiot, ridiculized for what? Just because he walks around with a cigarette butt and he looks like a gas station manager. Fine, whatever.
I don't give a shit. If he wins me the league, wear what you want. Turn up in high heels and a short skirt. I don't give a shit.
And also for the listeners who know me, big fan of the cigarette butt in his mouth and the sideline.
It does make me a little bit ill, though. It does make me a little bit ill. But, yeah, look, we've talked about Sarri before. He gets so much stick for no reason. I think he did a really good job at Chelsea and they chased him out of the job. Can I see him at Inter? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I just can't see it. I can't see it. And would he finally get the time that he needs? Because Sarri needs a club that's just going to say, here's fucking 6 years, do your project, go. And I don't feel like Inter is ever going to be that club.
I think that, I mean, historically, like, I even look at Mancini, he wanted out at some point. Like, we lost to Liverpool in the Champions League round of 16, I believe. I was at the stadium at that time. And then I'm walking back to the subway and people are like, in the press conference, the first thing Mancini said, he wants out. Like, it's not Inter usually that chases out their managers. It's their managers that then, because I feel like, look, there are a lot of pressures around Inter Milan. I will give you one example. Have you heard that Juventus sporting director, Mr. Paratici, has been sacked? Right. Have you heard about it in these days?
I think I've read one thing about it, maybe.
You read one thing about him. Imagine if it was Marotta at Inter. Failure, big-time failure. But Roma, it kind of goes, Juventus kind of goes swept under the rug, you know, like it happens. It's a big club and everything. At Inter, as soon as you do something wrong, there is all this pressure coming around you. Now, I think that Sarri is a person that doesn't feel the pressure that much. He's got nicotine for that to relieve
he's got enough of it as well.
He's got enough of it. I think that actually Inter Milan would have loved to keep Conte one more year at their conditions. But I think that Sarri, they could give him a 3-year contract or something. The dream, I'm going to say it and I'm going to sound ridiculous. I know it's not going to happen. But the dream, I'm talking about the dream, guys. Chris, it would be Mr. Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, but let's just put that to one side, right?
That would be...
Because I would love Arsenal to get Guardiola. Can I just put that out there? Can Guardiola go to Arsenal?
Look, the thing is this one. Like, there were rumors of Klopp maybe wanting to leave Liverpool this year or next year. No, you think he's going to stay there for another 10 years?
He's there for a while, man. He wants to win the league with them again. He doesn't want just one league title with them, I'm telling you. He knows that one league title gets forgotten. 2 gets remembered.
Well, I don't know, man, but if in the future you can plan on having like Klopp in 2 years, and I don't know, man, this is just like fantasy. I don't know. The other names for Inter's bench were fucking Mihailovic, please spare me the pain. And then...
Okay, so let's talk about, rather than going into like fantasy situations, I'm going to like pull you down from the clouds. Which names have been connected with it, and which names do you think are the most likely?
All the names have been connected with it. Allegri, until yesterday, everybody was like, Allegri. Allegri, by the way, if he had accepted the Inter's job, he could have been the first manager in history to win 3 Serie A titles with Inter, AC Milan, and Juventus. Next time, Max. Allegri was linked. Now Inzaghi. But man, I don't even know what newspapers to look at anymore, because yesterday they're like, okay, Lotito and Inzaghi have signed a new contract. Then today, Inzaghi's agent is at Inter's headquarters. Like, has he signed or not? I don't know. Then there is Mihailovic. Fuck Mihailovic. I don't like that guy. He's annoying. He's just always like pissed off. Like, but I don't know. Just like I don't know. I don't know, man. I would a name out of the hat like that I heard today, Italiano from Spezia at Inter Milan, though. I would like it, but you kind of need somebody. I like Italiano, okay? And
but it's a big step, that though, and it's a big step.
If our goal was to make it top 4 next year, I would be like, okay, we've got the team. We just got to be up there. But our goal is to win the Scudetto. At least my goal would be. I don't know what they're talking about. Man, I don't know. We're going to find out soon, I believe. Another name that has been just rumored, voiced, is Belgium's coach Martinez.
Good luck with that one, mate. Good luck with that one.
He coached Lukaku when he was at Everton.
Yeah, but good luck with that one. If you get Martinez, then RIP to your Scudetto hopes, because that guy cannot coach defense at all.
What if he wins the Euro Cup this summer?
And then he won't, so it's fine.
Belgium have got a very good squad. We shall see.
He can't coach defense.
Gattuso is now gone to Fiorentina. There is it's difficult.
Mourinho must be kicking himself that he signed that Roma contract, man. He must be absolutely kicking himself.
And one thing, I was yesterday with Michael. Michael was like, Tommaso, would you, if Mourinho hadn't signed with Roma, would you have signed him? And right off the bat, I was like, nope. Then Michael was like, what did he do at Chelsea on his second spell? And we went checking, and this is something that gets very little credit. He won the fucking league again.
He did.
And he won an FA Cup.
Yep.
So let's say...
But then it all ended in such a bin fire that everybody forgets what the first season was like.
He's won in Europa League at Manchester United. He hasn't won anything at Spurs, but who has won something at Spurs? So I don't know. Off the top of my head, I was like, nope. Now I'm like, maybe I would have. I don't know, man. You would have.
You definitely would have.
I just think that for what my voice can matter, I just think that our goal should be to win the Scudetto next year and to have a plan in the next 5 years to make a strong push for the Champions League. Now, do I know if I actually live very close to the Inter headquarters right now? If I knew what they were talking about there in that room right now, I would have better ideas, but I don't know. I'm just worried that it's going to be a stupid appointment, like a Ranieri-like character.
They've got to figure it out quick, man. They've got to figure it out quick because the transfer window opens soon, and you need a plan. You need your players in before pre-season. It's got to be quick.
Last thing that I want to say, Marotta knows his job very well. Mm-hmm. He's worked with Conte. He probably knew this was going to happen, and he said repeatedly that having a very good coach sometimes is equal to having a very good striker. I agree with him. Good luck, Beppe. You have work on your hands. Let's try to find the best solutions. We got to keep this going. After 11 years, we cannot afford to drop out of the Champions League zone. We got to be up there. We got to be up there competing with Juventus, AC Milan, and all the likes. We shall see. But
I can feel it. I can feel.
Let's move to the other side of Milan, where
I can feel the pain, right?
Where Gianluigi Donnarumma has been basically kicked out of the club with a kick in the butt. What do you think about that move, Rory?
Well, was it their choice or his? I feel like it was much more his choice. But yeah, quite a strange one. I just pray he doesn't end up at Juventus. Just don't go to Juventus.
He's probably going to go to Juventus.
I know he is. Of course he is. But what? Just fucking have a bit of imagination. Just why? All the best players just fucking go there because they're it's the only chance to win a championship. It's I don't know. It fucks me off that Juventus are gonna get the best keeper in the world potentially for the next 15 years for nothing because they don't deserve it. Now they've signed Magnan. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how to say it, from Lille. So he's the first of the Lille squad to get picked out.
What a steal from the AC Milan
15
management.
15 million
plus 3 of bonuses. Yeah,
that is nothing. So Milan have done very well, and I do respect them for being okay, you don't want to be here? Fine. Bang, there's your replacement. We're not even worried about it. And I think that at least they've come out of it with a bit of self-respect rather than chasing him around the place.
It's taken them 5 years and he's going away on a free. So
but if you let me, but they have let their biggest youth prospect in a generation disappear for no money. So, you win some, you lose some, right?
Yeah.
I'm annoyed it's going to be Juventus for free. It annoys me. I'd rather he went literally anywhere else.
Apparently, but this again, man, you read so many quotes on quotes and you're like, how do they know this? Apparently, Maldini asked Donnarumma after the last game of the season in Bergamo, in which they qualified for the Champions League, in the locker room. They were going to the locker room and they asked him, so Gigio, what are you going to do? And he said, I'm going to do what Mino Raiola tells me.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah, man.
But you're right. The Twitter in the nose are out early this summer, and there's a lot of them, and they are making a lot of noise. So you have to take 95% of it with a ladle of salt. But we'll see.
I have a question. Sorry, Rory, to cut you off. I have a question for our listeners. If you guys have got, besides The Athletic, which is absolutely super reliable and has some of the greatest pieces out there, if you've got another newspapers that you consider reliable, that gives good news, I don't care about the quotes on quotes. I kind of want to read actually what's happening at a club. More than headlines, there is a well-structured article that explains to you what is happening. That would be beautiful because, man, what I've read over the past 2 days, Inzaghi's agent is at the Inter headquarters, and then 5 minutes later, you see somebody say, dude, Inzaghi's agent is also Bastoni's agent, and they need to discuss his contract. So it's just what the fuck? Where is the real news? I don't know. But
there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of people out there pretending to be people they're not. And trust me, with Arsenal Twitter, especially this summer, Christ, we have been linked to every player in the world this summer, and we are selling our entire squad and stadium, apparently. So, it will be... Yeah, there's just a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of noise out there. But God damn it, Donnarumma, just don't go to Juve. Please, God, don't go to Juve. Any other news in Serie A? I feel like most of it has been Inter.
Well, Allegri at Juventus, welcome back.
Allegri at Juventus, let's talk about it. I feel like, is that going to be successful? I feel like it's going to be putting on an old pair of slippers for him, right? He's just going to fit straight back in.
As I told you, he's an aziendalista. He's going to shut up, do the work. I think Ronaldo is going to be gone. Ronaldo is going to be gone.
Good.
I
think that's good for them. I think that's very good for them.
When he left the Juventus job, he apparently told repeatedly the Agnellis that Cristiano Ronaldo would have cost Juventus the end of a cycle, and it would be too expensive to maintain and everything. He nailed it. And so I think that Cristiano Ronaldo is going to be gone. Where could he go, Rory?
Well, there are rumours that Manchester United are going to take him.
Not Arsenal?
No, I don't even want him. Honestly, no, that's not what we need. It's just not what we need. Even if it was an option, no, I'm all right. There's rumours that Manchester United are going to take him. Is he what Manchester United need? No. Do Manchester United ever buy what they need? No. So I think the chances of him going there are actually pretty high. It would be good to see him back in the Prem, eh? He wouldn't win them the league, though. Not now. He would not be the difference that we get in the Premier League. No way.
We will see what he does also at the Euros, but I think he wants 1-2 last seasons as a starter, win a few titles. Maybe Sporting Lisbon, as we've said, they just won the title after a long time. Maybe it could be a good idea to just go back to Portugal and end your career there. We shall see. I don't know, guys. We've kind of been clouded by this whole Conte gone at Inter, such in typical Inter fashion.
It's so Inter. So Inter.
That's why I wanted to ask you that question right off the bat of the DNA, because it's something so irrational, but it's something that is there, however, and it's kind of hard to explain.
It is, because you've got, clubs have reputations. Like Arsenal are now officially a banter club. Like, Inter do have this Pazza Inter that will not go away. And it is just, honestly, when the story broke, I was like, obviously at first I was like, oh shit. Then I just started laughing. I was like, this is the most Inter thing I've ever seen. They finally win a title and then the manager just fucks off. Insanity. I cannot believe they didn't pull out all the stops to keep him. But
the question is, where is Conte going to go now?
Well, Spurs fans, calm yourself, right? He's not going to Spurs. I reckon it's got to be Real Madrid, right? The Zidane announcement was made, I think, pretty much 24 hours after the Conte announcement was made. It feels like very convenient timing for me. I think it's probably the job that Conte's wanted for a while. I feel like he's been eyeing up the Real Madrid job for a while. I would love to see some of those Real Madrid players reacting to Conte's Conte. He is going to upset a lot of people in that dressing room, but I think that's what they need. They need someone that's going to come in and just go just fucking shout at them and scare them and get them to do something. Because as successful as Zidane was in his first stint, it definitely feels like things have loosened there a bit since. So I think his aggression could do quite well there.
You know who didn't have a great relationship with Antonio Conte on his second year at Chelsea? Mr. Eden Hazard. Do
you know why? Because Conte made him run. That's why.
All right, man. I just wanted to read quickly the Instagram post that Antonio Conte has put up. And it said, what an incredible journey in these 2 years. Every day, we made ourselves grow more and more with more determination, more strength, more willingness, and more sacrifice, managing to break the logics of mediocrity that often surround us. Without any alibi, without any excuse, throughout solely hard work, and dedication, we managed to do it. We brought the Scudetto back to Inter Milan after 11 years, but especially we brought Inter Milan back to where it belongs. Thank you, in capital letters, to everybody who made this possible. Blah, 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 to the staff, the president, and everything. And then to the supporters of Inter Milan, I would just like to say that in a very tough moment for everybody, because of the pandemic, we never, ever we didn't ever not feel your support, your passion, and your proximity to us. The image of the cup being lifted from the San Siro with the fans looking at us and clapping their hands, we were there, Rory, will be forever in my heart. Capital letters, thank you, ad maiora semper, a little bit of Latin, Antonio. Oof. Antonio, thank you. Antonio, thank you. So I wish you the worst now.
I think now it has to be bad luck from here on in. But Tommy, because we've already done 35 minutes on it, I'm just going to give you 2 minutes What do you think about the Sunning ownership? What's going on?
Whoa, what do I think about the Sunning ownership? I think that they've matter of fact brought us back to where we belong. We've won the first Scudetto in 11 years.
Okay.
They're the first foreign ownership to bring a Scudetto to Italy. That is great. I think that these past year and a half have been very difficult for everybody. One thing that I know that I don't like that much about foreign ownerships is the fact that the president is not here. So, for example, for Allegri, that was a huge thing. Allegri needs to go to dinner with Agnelli 3 times a week. They need to sit down and discuss the plans for the teams and everything. With Inter's ownership, that cannot happen. You need to have Zoom calls at weird times. They own a giant company that takes care of thousands of other things. It sometimes feels like Inter Milan is one aspect of all the business that they've got. I'm not against them, but I think that a lot will be said about their willingness to stay and make Inter great again. Wow, that sounds very MAGA, but MAGA, sorry. I think that this season we're going to see it. It depends on the appointment. It depends on a few other things, on the course that Inter is going to take in the next couple of years. But I'm not against the Chinese ownership. I think they've done a very good job so far.
Okay, nice, perfect. I just wanted to know because I didn't know if you would now necessarily be completely anti them as they've just scared away this, winning manager, and maybe you were just like, okay, get the fuck out.
There is also probably another offer coming. I don't think that Conte said, no, I want out because, and then I'm going to take a 2-year vacation.
Right.
I'm going out because the project is not the same, but at the same time, there is Florentino Perez knocking at my door, and we all know that for a manager going to Real Madrid is something big.
Yeah.
But Rory, shall we talk about actual football?
Yes, please. Football. Oh, yes, please, because I enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed this one.
In the last 20 years, Spanish teams have been in 20 combined Europa League and the Champions League finals. Rory, how many have they won?
Can I get it right?
Yeah.
20.
Yeah, you can get it right. Guys, by the way, you can hear it in the background. There is like a bird fight happening in my courtyard. It's pretty loud. It's the summer. It's the summer. But Rory, what did you make of the final? Was it deserved? Unai Emery winning Europa Leagues wherever he's been, except that. Help me out for a second. Where didn't he win the final?
There was a lot of tweets last night about maybe Arsenal were the problem all along. A lot. I would. Okay, because, right. Emery got hounded out of the job at Arsenal. Was I a big Emery fan? No. Did he do better than Arteta's done so far? Yes. And I think he was bullied for the whole good evening thing, got really old quite quickly, and it was a little bit xenophobic. I think he did get chased out of the job, and I think he didn't actually get backed with the players that he wanted by the Arsenal board, right? He wanted Zaha, we went out and got Nicola Pepe. He wanted this guy, we got that guy. So I feel like, look, were him and Arsenal a great fit? No. Do I hold any grudges against him? Not really. But I am still glad he's out of the club. But that being said,
Maurizio Sarri is the only manager to have beat Unai Emery in a Europa League final.
Yeah, I remember it well. Thank you. Now, the final, was it a good game? Not really. But Villarreal, to be fair, everybody knew, right? I saw a lot of stuff on Twitter of people like, negative football, just boring the shit out of us in a final. It's pathetic, embarrassing way to win a trophy. Right. For one, you knew what type of football Villarreal were going to play, right? Emery at no point hid what type of football he was going to play. He played it against Arsenal and he beat us, and he was going to play it in the final. United should have been able to prepare for that game plan, and with the quality in their squad, they should have beaten them. Now, I saw also a lot of people, there was embarrassing coverage on BT Sport, right? They did an unbiased panel, which was Rio Ferdinand, Owen Hargreaves, and Paul Scholes, right, talking about the game, all ex-Manchester United, where Paul Scholes came out and said, I think it was, I'm paraphrasing, but the message is basically the same. Villarreal finished 7th in a very, very poor La Liga, and United should be winning this comfortably by 4 or 5, right? So he made no secret of the fact that he thought that they were going to walk it. And by all accounts, the whole panel kind of agreed with him. And I saw a lot of this in England of like, just because it's not Real Madrid or Barcelona, they just assumed that they were utter shite. It's like, they're not a bad team. Watch La Liga for 10 minutes and you will see they've had a very good season. Moreno has scored 30 goals this year and got 10 assists. They have got some good players. Trigueros, I want to say. I don't know if I said that right, but he's a great player. Chukwueze, they've got some really good players in that team, and it was never going to be as easy as United thought it would be. And it turned out it wasn't. Now, the first half, Villarreal were really good. United were nowhere. And then in the second half, Cavani, because of course Cavani scores, right? He was one of the few things that was like a positive in that game for United. I think the only two players that can come out with their heads held high are Luke Shaw and Cavani, I think. Cavani got a classic poacher's goal. And then from there to equalise, I thought United were going to go on. I was like, oh, here you go. They've come back from 1-0 down 11 times this year in the Premier League, I think, to win. So I really thought they were going to come back, but they just weren't able to put any form of pressure, really sustained pressure onto Villarreal. Villarreal kept them at arm's length basically the whole time. Rashford had one or two chances he should have scored. He had not a great night, really not a great performance, but he wasn't the only one. And depressingly, there's been stories today of he's put a post up on Twitter saying, I've received 70 racist messages today in regards to my performance. And he's put out a big statement against it, like, for fuck's sake, guys, just stop.
These guys don't listen to the pod, probably, right?
No, but
luckily,
if anybody happened, listen to the pod. Yeah, I don't want you to listen. If you have ever sent an abusive message to a footballer on DM, press pause and close the app because we don't want you listening to us. But he didn't have a great night. None of them really did. And from about 70 minutes in, I think Villarreal were like, okay, boys, penalties. Right, here we go. Let's just hold on. And United were unable to break them down. The game was boring as shit. But the penalty shootout, oh my God. There were some brilliant penalties in that shootout as well, by the way. The one that stuck in my head, Francis Coquelin, oh my God, absolutely stuck it top bins in a sudden death, like a fair play. So it was 10 penalties scored in a row, right? 10 penalties scored in a row, and then the 11th steps up, right? Now, De Gea on penalties, I think he got close to maybe 2 or 3. It felt like the Villarreal goalkeeper got close to the majority of the penalties. I felt like he was really close to saving a few of them. But David De Gea never really looked like saving one. Am I going to have a go at a goalkeeper for missing a penalty? No, not really. But that being said, he did try to place it. He telegraphed where he was going to put it. If you're a goalkeeper, just hit it as hard as you can. Yeah, just hit it as hard as you can. What you can do is goal kicks. Make sure it's on target. Just fucking put your foot through it. The fact he tried to place it is a bit of a bad decision. But
that's what
a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure, sudden death. But
that's what Rulli did for Villarreal. He's just used to punting the ball, punted the ball into the net, and off you go. And man, De Gea, one thing. I used to be a big fan of De Gea. He's definitely gone downhill quite a bit over the past few years, but you could read it in his eyes. The guy was tense, and man, the face. I did say it a few episodes ago. The face that he has when he's about to take the penalty, it's the face of, oh shit, I didn't review that page before the test. It was just like, the face was just like, I know I haven't taken enough penalties recently, and I just kind of know it. Yeah. And it went that way. But Rory, Gerard Moreno, you guys know we are the Anglo-Italian pod. We cover mainly Serie A and the Premier League. This guy has scored 30 goals between La Liga and Europa League at 28 years of age, hitting his peak. Good job, Gerard.
But I wanted to talk about, incredible. And the fact that people weren't looking at that stat and going, oh, maybe pay attention to that guy is a little bit worrying and shows a bit of the lack of awareness of European football in general in the UK. I think a lot of the leagues, a lot of the pundits, some of the European coverage in the UK is embarrassing when they try and talk about the foreign teams. It's like, Christ, can you not get anyone on who's watched a game in Ligue 1? Like, BT Sport managed to do it because they have Julien Laurent and Raf Honigstein, people like that come on. But a lot of the shows, when there's an English team involved, it's pretty embarrassing, the coverage. But the biggest problem for United, I think, was Ollie. He didn't manage the game. He did not manage the game. It was now I'm going to check the minute that he made his first substitution, because I think off the top of my head it was in extra time. So the first substitution for Manchester United comes in the 100th minute.
Yeah.
By that point, Villarreal had already made 5 substitutions, right? So he then makes substitutions at the 100th minute, right? He makes 1 substitution. He takes off a striker and brings on Fred, right? And then waits until the 118th minute to make any other change, 116th minute to make any other changes, by which point it's too late for them to have an impact on the game. Even if you are just bringing them on for penalties, like, to use all of your substitutions at the end of extra time when you could see that the United players were blowing. There was a point where Rashford, who, as we said, hadn't had a great game, he pulled up with an injury and we thought, okay, right, get Rashford off, bring on Daniel James, bring on Diallo, bring on someone with a bit of pace who can stretch this back line and who can just kind of get a bit of energy in this performance. And no, he keeps him on the pitch. Now, I know Rashford would have been saying, I don't want to come off. But sometimes you've just got to say, mate, you're coming off. We need you off the pitch. And I feel like with Ollie, maybe there's a bit of, he's a bit too nice. I don't know. Maybe he's afraid to upset some of the players. I don't know what it is, but he did not manage that game, and the game needed managing. Whereas you've got Unai Emery, who you can say a lot of things about him, but his in-game management is incredible. He knows which players need to come off and how to change the system and where to fix and fill holes. And so you've got one manager who's very quick at doing it and one manager who's refusing to do it. And I think that's where the difference came. And United, through a poor performance and through lack of energy on the bench, just meant that they were never going to win the game. And once it got to penalties, I thought Villarreal are going to win this. It's just, they were bound to win it.
Yeah, one thing that I noticed last night during the game, and now I rewatched the highlights before starting to record, and dude, there were a lot of crosses from Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka for Manchester United, and the majority of them were pretty bad crosses. So the fact that you rely, they were, man, how many?
Luke Shaw was killing it. Luke Shaw had a great game, man.
Yeah,
he had a great game.
However, the closest cross to be turned into a goal was a very badly taken cross that Cavani just tried to power in.
Well, it was a shot, yeah. It was
a shot. But I mean, when you rely so much on your left back and right back to take crosses, you kind of expect to put one in on target at least. It happened only with Cavani, really.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I think maybe you're right. I think Luke Shaw was causing him a lot of problems, but there was no one in the box for his crosses to hit. I feel like there was.
He would go past the defender, make the cross, and then one time Pogba went, but the ball was so low that he couldn't do any better. By the way, Pogba, he's lost quite a few finals so far.
Man, yeah, it's becoming a bit of a trend, and also. We need to talk about
the biggest one, so
yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure he still sleeps at night. But we need to talk about Fernandes.
What about him?
Right, every big game I've seen him in, he's disappeared. Right, he's still never won a major trophy, and all I noticed from him this final was him hitting the deck anytime someone got within 5 foot of him. He had no effect on the game whatsoever. The only thing he did was win free kicks. And I think if that's what you're there to do, then fine. But you're not one of the best midfielders in the world. Because if De Bruyne is in a game like that, he affects the fucking game. Fernandes did not affect the game.
Especially midfielders are... I don't think that it takes one season to say this guy is a great midfielder.
A lot of people are saying it.
Let's see what Portugal do this summer at the Euros. I still think that Bruno Fernandes is an incredible midfielder. Let's not forget that he played...
Great player, but I just mean in big games. And I mean, in big games, even games against the big six, in inverted commas, he doesn't turn up. I think he's...
It's his first spell at a big club, though, as well.
It's his second season, right?
It's his... he came in January last year, right? 1.5, yeah. It's his second season. He's getting used. Let's see if he makes a statement at the Euros this summer. Once again, Portugal, in my opinion, have a 6-6 squad.
Oh, they do.
We're probably going to have a Euro preview special, but we will see, man. I don't know, but yeah, I was kind of unimpressed. And when he had an open shot, he kind of put it elsewhere.
Yeah, I barely noticed him on the pitch apart from getting angry at the fact that he kept falling over. There's one dive that is absolutely embarrassing.
Shall we talk about...
I just think it's a question that needs to be asked. He should have turned up, and he really, really didn't. But again, a lot of the team didn't. So can you say it's his fault for not turning up when the other 10 didn't turn up? If you know what I mean, it's like, obviously you kind of bounce off your teammates, right? So, but I just think it's interesting that he was unable to kind of affect the game.
But before we wrap this up, I started with a little Arsenal dig at Rory. We're in North London. Should we take a few Tottenham digs? Because there are quite a few players that have won another trophy this season away from Spurs. Shall we say their names, Rory?
It's piling up. We've got the legendary Juan Foyth, who I saw a great meme of him today where he was sat on the pitch kind of thinking to himself, it's like, when you realise you've qualified Villarreal for the Champions League, but you need to return to Tottenham to play in the European Conference League. It's like, fucking brilliant. And then the other one of the great names in football, Etienne Capoue, who's also now won a European trophy, won a trophy since leaving Tottenham. Look, I'm going to bite my tongue on Tottenham a little bit because I'm actually a little bit worried about Pochettino returning there. But now I've mentioned it, I think that's a bad move for both parties. I think that is a terrible move. If he goes back there, never go back. Zidane went back after his great return, after his great, incredible spell at Real. Didn't really work, right? Mourinho went after Chelsea, all ended in a bin fire. Keegan went back to Newcastle. It was awful. I feel like you should never really go back. And I think it's, again, this two exes not being able to find anyone else and just falling into each other's arms. And then they're going to hate each other within 3 months.
But also, I have heard this from you, that there are these rumors about Pochettino going back. He's been at PSG for 6 months.
Yeah, apparently he's sick of it.
He's sick of it already?
Apparently, yeah.
Damn, Poch. Damn, Poch.
The stories are coming from fairly reliable sources that they are in kind of talks and he's keen to go back. Look, we've talked about the problems at PSG. Managing that bunch of bellends, I'm all right. Like, not enough money in the world to have to put up with Kimpembe's nonsense and fucking Neymar's nonsense. Like, I imagine it's a proper fucking headache. So, but I think, look, if he goes back to Spurs, what is he going to do there? He's going to have to restart the rebuilding job when he got there 5 years ago, right? He's going back to square one because is Kane then going to go, okay, right, another project. Right, cool. I'm here to stick for another project where we might win something in 4 years. Probably not, right? The guy's already 27, 28, right? He's cracking on a little bit. He wants to win now. So is that going to make him stay? Probably not. The majority of the squad that stopped playing for him last time are still there. The players like Dele Alli, the Sissoko, like these players are still there. So the problem, if it was a personality clash, that problem's still going to be there. I feel like it's just a club and a person that are like, I'm running out of ideas. Let's just go back to what was comfortable. I don't think it'll end well. But we'll see. If he even goes, I don't know.
We shall see. By the way, guys, it's super funny. It's spring. Spring has sprung. I haven't said this sentence yet this year. Spring has sprung. It's beautiful out. There is there is bird central in my courtyard. And it's amazing to look at my cat all day. I swear to God, it's as if she was watching Netflix. It's like she's watching like a live show. It's so exciting for her. Sometimes I try to pet her and something, and she like looks at me like, dude, no, I'm doing something else. I'm like looking at the birds fly.
The bird show's on. Leave me alone. Yeah.
Rory, we said that this Euro review was going to be a bit of a chat, but we are ready for a big interview. I have to say one thing that really breaks my heart. The connection at Rafa's house wasn't the greatest. And Rafa, we know you're listening. We asked you to move twice. And then Rory and I are both very nice guys. And we felt very bad at asking you to move again. So I've done a bunch of editing and clipping. It's kind of unfortunate. You can hear everything. It's not the best sound quality, but it's kind of unfortunate because it's one of the very best interviews that we've had this year.
Definitely.
Rafa, you're a great guy, but I let Rory introduce you.
So we are signing off the season on a big note, I think. So we will be talking to Raffaele De Vita, who has played for the likes of, he started his career in Blackburn. He then went to Livingston, played for Swindon. He's travelled all around Scotland, played in some incredible stadiums, won big medals, big trophies, and it was a really interesting talk. So without further ado, Rafa De Vita. And here we are in our weekly topic, the last one of the season, and it's a big one. We are joined by a special guest this week. He's all the way from Rome. It is Rafa. Now, you have to correct me if I say this right. Raffaele De Vita. And you are from Rome. You've played in Scotland as well. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, no, that's a good pronunciation. It's Raffaele. Yeah, so you got that one right. So I'm in Rome now, but usually, last 20 years I've been in Scotland, so I'm just over here now to visit the family and enjoy a bit of sunshine.
Yeah, how does it feel to see the sun again?
It's very weird, to be honest. Especially, this is the first time that I've not actually had a chance to go home for about 2 years. Because obviously, after the lockdown, we weren't able to come back for the summer last year. So it's been a while. Scotland can be a tough place to live in when you don't have a break from it. When you can't go anywhere. The winter is very long and cold, and the summer is not much better. So. I'm definitely enjoying this. I've missed it.
Yeah, make sure to put some sunscreen on. I don't think your skin is used to the weather anymore.
Oh, you're right. I need to make sure. I need to think that I'm a Scottish person nowadays. I need to stop thinking like an Italian.
Yeah. Rory knows something about that. We are Inter fans, and we were at the Scudetto celebrations, and Rory was turning red by the minute just by staring at the players and the sun hitting him on his head.
It was brutal. Like, the whole crowd was stood there looking one way, and I was facing the opposite way, so the sun wasn't on my face for like a full hour. I definitely stood out a little bit more. But eventually I'll catch up. Hopefully.
Thank you. Sun, or was it you just being emotional because you've not won the league in a long time?
To be honest, I did get carried away with the emotions a little bit, and I've only supported Inter since I got here, but Tommy was definitely the more emotional one, I think.
Also, probably it's been a long time. I was also probably the drunker one of the two. So yeah, emotions were running wild. But I was going to say thank you so much, Rafa, for agreeing to come on. As Rory already said, you're going to be the last guest. You're a true Anglo-Italian guest. You're Italian, but you've had a very long career across the channel, specifically in Scotland. And let's go back to the origins for a second. You're in Rome. Let's go back to your childhood. You were born in 1987, if I'm correct. What are your earliest football memories of you playing and of you watching football?
Playing, I think it's probably everywhere, but especially where I'm from, that it's really nothing else for kids. Probably a little bit different now with the way things are changing with PlayStation and all that. But when back in the day, I'm talking back in the days, not that long, but it was a bit different. It was just school and then football until your mum kind of came out of the house to shout you over for dinner. So it was until pretty much every day until it got dark. I remember there was so many kids. It was so competitive because there was so many kids. You had to be actually decent at football to be selected to play in the week in the little games that we used to play outside, and it was just constant football. And then I think maybe when I was 10, 11 and stuff, I started to follow Lazio because I think it was because one of my closest mates was a big Lazio fan. I don't really have any influences in my family. My family are not from Rome, so neither my dad or anyone in the family supported Lazio. So that when I started following Lazio, then it kind of became an obsession. And when I was a little bit older, I managed to start going to games. It was probably one of the things that I've missed the most when I moved over to the UK, following Lazio every week and watch the games and stuff.
So you went to the stadium, yeah?
I did. I never had the season tickets, but it was one of my mates. His dad was a big Lazio fan, and I used to kind of jump in their car and go to games, and it was just unbelievable. Some of the games that I managed to have the chance to watch, especially around that time, late 90s, early 2000s, Lazio was an unbelievable team. When I watch Lazio play now, it makes me a bit sad that I have to watch certain players playing for the club when back in the day it was just heroes, just absolute players from a different world. I only realised now, what type of football I was watching. Very different.
Yeah, you had all the Nedveds, Nestas, and the Simeones.
Was that with Sven-Goran Eriksson as manager? Would that have been Sven in charge around that time?
Absolutely, yeah. He was probably the most influential manager around that time, and that's when we won the Scudetto and when we won the Super Cup against Man United. That was probably the time where I would say Lazio was probably one of the on paper one of the best teams in Europe. The players that Tommy mentioned, obviously, talking about top players, and I don't think we'll see players like that playing. Never mind for Lazio, maybe in Serie A. That caliber of players is gone now for Serie A, unfortunately, and it's a bit sad.
So I have a question for you. You're the first Lazio fan that we have on the pod. It was incredible. Lazio won the Scudetto, but 1 season later, Roma also won it. How did it feel? Because it's kind of unprecedented. 2 consecutive Scudettos, both in Rome. The Lazio fans were probably still celebrating. You have to pull off your flags because the Roma ones are coming. How did it feel?
Horrendous, to be honest. It was just. I think they won it because we won it. I think they would never built a team that was so good if it wasn't for Lazio winning the club. But Rome's such a passionate city that when Lazio won the league, obviously the Roma chairman, which was Sensi at the time, felt that he had to do something to get the fans back on side, and he went and signed Batistuta, which was the biggest signing for Roma in the last, I don't know, maybe 50 years, and he kind of won the league back. Obviously, they had a lot of good players, but he was the player that they were missing, and unfortunately, the celebrations for Lazio didn't last long. But still amazing the way we won it, and I can remember the game between Fiorentina and Perugia was such an iconic game with the game that was nearly postponed and then kind of started an hour after our game finished, and everyone was at the stadium waiting for we used to have a little radio, you call them in English, you just listen to to listen to the scores and stuff, and waiting for information from Perugia, and in the end it was such a good moment, and unfortunately it's nothing similar has happened since for Lazio.
By the way, guys, you've understood Raffaele is a hardcore Lazio fan, but somebody played a prank on him. In fact, if you go to Wikipedia or Transfer Market and you check out his career, it will say that he started in Roma's youth team. That was the first thing that we told Rafa off mic, and he was like, no, guys, that was somebody trying to prank me. So how did your footballing career actually start?
So I started, obviously I was quite young. I joined the closest team to my house, which was obviously one of the many local clubs around this area. There's so many in Rome, like in every big city. And then I kind of moved to a better one, then a better one. And then when I was 14, I joined this club, which was this local club. Everything was a little bit more serious and professional. It was quite famous in Rome because it's managed by Giuseppe Giannini, which is in Rome is kind of a hero. He won the Scudetto with Roma in the 80s, so he's a big name. And my dad wanted me to go there, even though he knew that I wasn't a big fan of what they stood for. But kind of had a good season, and then after 6 months, there was a lot of scouts coming to games, and I started getting interest. And then my coach, which was actually another Roma player, and again he's one of the most influential people in my life, was I think the younger guys won't remember it, but you probably remember him. It's called Chierico, Odoacre Chierico. Again, he was a big player for Roma in the 80s, and I left and I went to Blackburn Rovers with him for the first time, and that's how he started. I had a try in England, and then 6 months later I kind of moved over for good. It was very quick, to be honest, and a bit surreal if I look back.
First impressions when, as a kid, pretty much, you arrived in the UK. What were your first impressions, not only of the horrible weather, but also of the differences in the football that was being played?
It was just crazy for me because I went from playing, by the way, in Rome, I actually never seen grass before. because it never really doesn't really rain here, so no one plays on grass. It's different now with the 3G pitches that that have been brought in. But at the time, we used to play on. I wouldn't even know what to say in English. It's like whatever's underneath the grass, but it's very hard, like concrete. So we kind of played on that, and it was every time you went for a tackle, you'd be risking horrible injuries and stuff. And so I moved over and I went to this academy, which was one of the best in the UK. It was loads of unbelievable, immaculate pitches and indoor pitches, brand new gyms, and it kind of felt like I went from local football to felt like I was playing in Real Madrid. It was just unbelievable, and the standard of players was a bit of a shock for me because everyone was not just good technically, but they were also men. Like I felt like a wee boy playing against men. They all look about 15 years older than me. I think some of them probably lying about their age because it was impossible. Some of them to claim they were 15, 16, it was just I couldn't believe it. So the differences were massive, and also going from training twice a week, having fun, to actually waking up every day, doing a gym session, then train, then lunch. Everything was so structured, and then training again, and it was just football constantly. So it was completely different. It was a bit of a shock, but I think it helped me to adapt because I didn't really have any time to be homesick. It was just football night and day. So it was a bit of a shock, but a brilliant experience.
And who was the coach there when you were in charge? I was looking. Was it? I was checking who it was, but it was Mark Hughes when you were there. Is that correct? That's right, right?
It was actually so when I signed, it was Graham Souness still, and it was funny. It was quite funny because the academy director, when he signed me, basically he wanted to show me around just to make me feel a little bit more welcome because I couldn't speak the language and I didn't have a chance to. I think he felt that I was a bit, all over the place, and I was struggling to handle whatever I went through. And he took me down to the academy at Blackburn is at kind of the top of this village, and then you go down the bottom, and the first team have got different facilities where they train. So he took me down there, and he in his head he thought Graham Souness played in Italy, so he probably speaks Italian, so he can have a chat in Italian with them, and he'll feel more home. He just made it because Souness couldn't speak a word of Italian. He just tried to speak Italian in completely made up language. He was just adding vowels to the end of sentences. It just never made any sense. So I was trying to. I didn't want to make him feel awkward, but I was like, I have no clue what you're saying. Like, I'd rather use the little English that I have to have a little conversation. But he just kind of kept going, and at the end, I was just talking a lot of rubbish Italian, and I didn't know what question I was answering. But then after that, Souness left after 4 or 5 months, and then Mark Hughes came in, and he kind of changed the whole club, and he went from being a mid-table, kind of low to mid-table club to challenge for the European spots in the Premier League. So it was a brilliant experience to see all the players at that time. Santa Cruz and Benny McCarthy and David Bentley. There were so many names, and looking back, I wish I played a bit more who I was watching and who I was training with at times. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, well, you're right. It was a great club to be around at that time, and it was like just before, sadly, it all started to go wrong at Blackburn. But what were the major differences between Souness and Mark Hughes? What were the biggest differences you noticed?
I would probably say recruitment, because Mark Hughes hardly ever came out for training, so I wouldn't say he's a better coach than Souness. He never really coached. He had 2 assistants do everything for him, but the recruitment was unbelievable. So he kind of got rid of most of the main players that Souness brought in. So like Amoruso and the kind of Lucas Neal was still there. The kind of the older players, Craig Short. So there was a block of players that had been there for a long time. He kind of got rid of them, and he brought pieces in. And he was, I wouldn't say he was lucky, but he brought in Morten Gams Pedersen, which I don't think anyone expected him to be so good. David Bentley was another one. Robbie Savage came in and became a big part of of the club, and I could mention so many. But then when you start bringing in Santa Cruz, and there was another few that honestly it was just they shouldn't have been a Blackburn. They were just massive players with European experience, and I would say I would say the recruitment was his best quality. I think he managed to assemble a team that worked perfectly, and eventually I think a couple of times they finished just outside the Champions League spots. But some of the games I watched games against Man United and Arsenal, by the way, was the Invincibles and all the top clubs, and it was Chelsea as well when Mourinho was there, and honestly it was a brilliant club, and I was lucky to be there and be a ball boy and sometimes watch from the stand, I don't think I truly appreciated what I had the chance to watch at the time.
Well, I think that's often the case, right? It's easier to look back and realize what you were experiencing than realize at the time, right? But that, like, players like Morten Gamst Pedersen were like, those like the streets will never forget players. I think Gamst Pedersen is one of those, definitely. He was sensational in the Premier League for a few years. But after Blackburn, you get your first chance north of the border up in Livingston. So how did that chance come around, and how did it feel getting your second transfer, I suppose?
It was very tough in a way because I was released by Blackburn. So I had a good season with the reserves, and then Mark Hughes gave me another contract, but then I was nowhere near the first team. I was I was looking back, and I knew I was quite realistic. I'd never been the type of player to say, I should be playing. I knew that I wasn't at that level. I was never going to compete against Benny McCarthy and Tom Roberts and Matt Derbyshire and all the strikers that were there. So it was good for me that someone kind of forced me to go away and play first team, but at the same time, rejection is never nice. So when you get released, and it's not just for me, for every player that at some point will get released, it's the same. You struggle to accept it, and you feel that it's the end of the world. But for me, it was the best thing that happened because I was getting a bit comfortable to play a reserve level where results didn't matter. I was just enjoying it, but I wasn't doing anything in football. See, if you don't play, now I realise that people just look at how many games you played, and I was 20 and I never played a first team game, and it didn't matter that I was at Blackburn or I could have been at Man United. But if you don't play matches, you're not doing anything in football. So that was what I needed, and I met this Italian guy. He was actually a guy from Rome when I played a friendly against Rangers for Blackburn Reserves, and kind of heard his accent, and I thought that's very strange. A guy from Rome that is living in Glasgow. So I kind of went up to him and we had a chat, and then I gave him my number. And in the summer, when I got released, he phoned me and was like, "Oh, you're still looking to stay in the UK, blah, blah." And he told me and my partner have just covered Livingston in school. We want to build something important, so something if you like it. And then kind of went from there.
Nice. And in Livingston, you definitely got your chance. So I saw that you played 69, you got 69 appearances, scoring 22 goals, and you got back-to-back promotions while you were there. Is that correct? So you got promoted from the third division and then again from the second division. How did it feel being in a team with that much momentum? I think you don't often see that in squads, kind of back-to-back promotions. That must have been incredible.
Yeah, it actually wasn't, because as many Italian presidents and businessmen that try to get into football, they I don't know how to say, they go up and they think they can manage and handle clubs in the way people do it in Italy. But they came to Livingston, it just never worked, and the wages were kind of late every month. There was always a struggle to get paid, and that's something that works in Italy because there are different rules. But in Scotland, players don't accept it. If you don't get paid on time, you don't receive your wages. People just don't turn up for training. So the SFA got involved, and eventually they were kicked out of Scotland, and we got relegated to the third division. So we nearly went bankrupt. So it was a horrible time. I was only 20, and I was seeing people losing their jobs and adults crying because obviously they didn't have a job anymore. It was a shocking experience, but that's when I realised that I wasn't a young boy anymore. Football wasn't. It was a job. It meant a lot for a lot of people. So from there we went to the third division, which is Scotland, and you don't want to play there. It's an eye-opening experience, and you go to places like Peterhead or Montrose, which is when I went to these places the first time, it felt like the furthest point away in the there was nothing past that. It was just so far away and cold. Not cold. It was actually freezing and windy, and it can make me a lot stronger. So to play in places like that was definitely a big experience. And but then when you start playing, you actually playing in front of fans, which is something that I never experienced before. Kind of become popular, in the town. People recognise you. It's something obviously that every player enjoys, and I did enjoy it. And then getting promoted back to the Championship eventually was a big thing for the club, because for the size of the club, it would have been dangerous to stay down, to stay in League One, League Two, where there's not a lot of money coming in for the club, and the money that they're spending is quite a lot. So we kind of got the club back to the Championship, and then I left after that. But it was, in the end, it was a good experience. I had the chance to play first in football, which was the main thing.
Very nice. And what would you say were your highlights of your time at Livingston? Was there any game or any goals that stick in your mind as your first professional club in front of fans? What did it like? What are the highlights for you there?
No, I think that the debut was probably the moment that I remember with probably the biggest memory would be that, because what happened when I signed for Livingston, in the first game, I think it was 10 minutes into my first game, I got a bad injury. I was out for 6 more. I was out for 8 months. So then when I came back, it was not just the fear of, how my knee react. It was also playing in front of fans for the first time. It was actually at St Johnstone, which is quite a decent stadium, and a lot of fans are used to it. I think that was the season when they got promoted, and since then they've been one of the better clubs in the SPL. So I was actually playing in one of the better stadiums in the Championship, and it was a brilliant experience. I think it came on for 25 minutes, and the adrenaline, the buzz of actually playing in front of 3,000-4,000 people was something that I remember forever.
So then from Livingston, you go to Swindon Town. Now, at the time, obviously, we've discovered you're a Lazio fan. And at the time, in charge of Swindon was a certain Mr. Paolo Di Canio. Now, how did that feel? Can you just describe to us what is he like? I think he is a fascinating man. And what was it like to play for him? I imagine he was a childhood hero of yours.
He was, yeah, and absolutely. Probably the only. I don't really have any particular players in Lazio players that I look up to, because around that time there was too many. But one would be Di Canio for me, not just because obviously he's from literally about 2 miles from where I am now, which is the southeast of Rome, and also because he moved to England, and around that time I kind of felt that I was in a similar situation. Obviously he was a completely different level, but he kind of went from Italy and went to England. It was probably one of the Italian players that had the most success. So I always followed him, watched him with a lot of them, and I was trying to. I wanted to be like him, as a kid. I wanted to be as good as him and play that he did. Because to be honest, I think he's one of the underrated players, definitely in Italy too. If you think I don't think he's ever played for the national team, or maybe probably one game, but a player level to never play for the national team, I think he's criminal. So he was my hero, and when I got the chance to speak to him the first time, it was an unbelievable experience. I was stuttering. He probably thought, "What? Who's this guy? He can't even put 2 sentences together." Because I couldn't. I was struck. I was just. While I was talking to him, I was thinking, "How is this happening? Like, how is he going to be my manager?" When I had posters of him in my room a couple of seasons before that. And it was just a brilliant experience. But then I discovered that he was an unbelievable coach. So the whole thing was unbelievable.
Yeah, one thing that has always stood out about Di Canio for me is his knowledge about football as a sport and as an art and as a form of entertainment. Of all the pundits that we have in Italy, recently Baggio I said a quote that I think was directly directed to Lele Adani. He said, I had teammates who couldn't juggle the ball twice, and now they're talking like experts. It feels like there are a lot of people like that, while Di Canio has always been a person that whenever I see on television, except this year that he had this sort of beef with Lukaku, he kept saying that he was terrible, that he's not a good striker. Besides this season, I've always looked at Di Canio on television and said that this guy knows what he's talking about. So what are the most important things that you learned from him on the pitch?
First of all, I completely agree with you. I think in Italy, Di Canio is a controversial figure because obviously his political ideas and he's always had bad press. But in terms of knowledge about football, it's second to none. I honestly think when I was at Swindon, he was a manager where you couldn't have an argument. See, if you felt that you didn't agree to about something that he did, he would completely. You couldn't keep up with the level of knowledge that he always felt that he knows too much. I can't even compete with that. I can't have a conversation. He knows too much about football. He was strange with other managers. I feel he doesn't have a clue what he's saying, or I know better and stuff. But with Di Canio, just from the first get that impression that it's like he went to uni and studied football. Like it's incredible. So I completely agree with you. I think I would like to watch him in the dugout managing a club, because I think his coaching abilities is unbelievable, and I think he's not wasted in a studio talking about football. But I think he could give more to the game. But at the same time, when I'm watching a game and he's explaining what's happening, he's definitely something that for people that watch football, it's a massive thing he's a good person to learn from, because he knows the game inside out, and it gives you he makes you watch the game from a different perspective. I watch Sky more for the post-match analysis than the actual games. You can learn so much from it. But for me, the thing that I learned the most from him is your whole life should be concentrated, focused on football. There's nothing else, and to see someone there's so much his playing career to put the same amount of effort and professionalism in, the level we were playing at League One, League Two in England is nowhere near what he was used to. But the level of the attention to details and the professionalism they had, it was inspiring, and I think if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have managed to stay in football for the time that I managed to stay, because he kind of gave me so much knowledge, and he taught me how to play a game differently, and I think that's why I survived in England. Otherwise, I don't think I would have. I could have easily faded away and ended up playing at a much lower level.
Wow, nice. That's incredible to hear. And obviously he comes across as a very, very impressive person. There's a few of our listeners who are West Ham fans who absolutely adore Paolo Di Canio, so they'll be glad to hear you talk so highly of him. But even at Swindon, he had a lot of success. You got promotion from League Two in the 16-17 season. How was that season? I remember the Swindon team got a lot of press at the time. There was a lot of coverage because of Paolo Di Canio. It seemed like a great place to be. How was that season?
Yeah, it was just because of him, mainly because of him. Because every day was eventful. There was always something happening, and he was a guy that didn't like things to be flat. It's like sometimes he wanted to feel the tension and the pressure around the place, so he would just do everything to even make up something that it would lead to an argument or a bit of tension. It was just the way he is. He couldn't be. I think he felt that he needed to. Everyone, he didn't want things to go too flat, so it was very stressful to be honest. It was just the amount of pressure that he put on your form every single day. Another thing, you two obviously know, in England it's a lot different the way you train. So you get your Wednesday off. So people train hard Monday, Tuesday, and then get a Wednesday off, and then kind of go back into training on a Thursday, Friday, and it's very light. But with Di Canio, we never got a day off. You never had a chance to kind of recharge your batteries and take a day off. There was none of that. It was just either on the pitch or be in a room watching clips of different teams or yourself. It was intense, but as I said, you learn so much. And the reason why we kind of won every game that season is because he prepared the games to the, honestly, we could play against the bottom of the league in League Two, like a Dagenham and Redbridge or Barnet, and he would know exactly the way they would play. He would tell you the players that trained that week for them, who was going to be missing, if anyone had an argument with the manager. He just knew absolutely everything. And for someone that's played, as you said, played for West Ham, and sometimes people that played this level struggle to adapt to League Two, but he took it as the biggest job in the world. And he kind of, for example, if I played against one of these teams, I knew exactly who I was playing against. So I would play against the right back. If I was a left winger, I would play against the right back, and I felt like I knew already. The game was already played for me. I just had to follow his instructions, and everything would be fine. And he was. I think most players around that time could probably feel the same about it. It was just completely mesmerising the way he coached and the attention to details that he had for every single aspect of the game.
You mentioned watching the clips also during the week of training, and I watched a very fun interview when Antonio Conte was manager at Chelsea. I believe he's interviewed by Thierry Henry, and he says that the biggest difference that he found between the locker room in England and the locker rooms in Italy, players in Italy expect to sit down and rewatch games and watch the opposition. While Conte said that when he got to Chelsea, the players weren't having it. And at first, you would always hear them complain and moan about the fact that they had to sit and watch the game or sit and watch the training that they had just done. How useful is it for a football player to watch the training, the game that has just been played by your team, and the opposition play as well?
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I think it's a very Italian thing to go into so much tactical analysis and watching. So basically on a Monday, for example, say we lost, even if we won, to be honest, you would open a folder and then there would be other folders of every single player. So we'd say like De Vita, Matt Ritchie, Pocadis, and then he would open each folder and then there would be 20 watch for each player. So I would have to watch not just my clips, but everyone else's clip, and they would go on for like 3 hours, and I kind of got used to it because I knew that I was being from Italy, and I understand that this is very important. But some of the English boys, they would I remember the first few weeks, they were just looking at each other thinking, this is a wind-up surely, like he's not being serious here, like this can't carry on all season. But then as things got better and we started in games, everyone kind of accepted it and the benefit. So we kind of got used to it, but it was funny every time a new signing came in. It was funny to watch him the first meeting. Some of them, even foreign boys, sometimes. I remember I just used to look across and see their faces, and we're like looking round to see that if it was a joke or it was something that it was normal. Because honestly, he wouldn't just watch the clips. He would kind of like tackle and recreations live in the room. So he would just slide tackle to show a defender to tackle. He would hit the ball, an invisible ball. He would smash the TV. He would grab people. It was just so intense. This was every single day of every week. And you think, how is he surviving? And if you watch him when he signed, and watch a picture, maybe have a look at a picture from when he left, he looked like he aged about 35 years. And the reason is because he put so much effort into it. But honestly, I've learned so much from him. I could thank him for it.
Are you, just out of curiosity, are you still in touch with Paolo?
It's difficult actually because he changes his number every 2 weeks. I do have his number now, and the reason why I do is because I got married last year, and my wife knew obviously how obsessed I am of the Canio, and he managed to get his number off his daughter from Facebook, and he got the Canio to send us a little video wishing congrats on getting married and stuff. And he was that night basically when the whole family was there. There was about 200 people, and there was a lot of wine being drunk and stuff. So for me, it was like it was all a bit blurry. But then my wife kind of got everyone together, and it was like, oh, I've got something to show you. I was like, oh, this is not the plan. This is not what we planned. And And then the big screen came out, and the Canio started like talking. And I was like, "Am I that drunk that I haven't seen the Canio in this video?" Like just saying, "Now, well done for getting married and stuff." So I went and said, "Oh, thank you for." So obviously all my mates are there. They're all Lazio fans, so they're all like that. Oh my god! And he's saying, "Oh, you were a massive player for me, and you were very professional. Thank for what you've done, and we had great memories and stuff." And then he obviously hammered me a little bit like he always used to do, and he was saying to my wife, "Oh, how are you marrying a guy like him, and with his moving his hands all over the place and stuff?" And he just got the place. They were all laughing, and it was a great gesture. And then since that, obviously, I kept his number to thank him for what he'd done. And the problem, I never really text him or call him because I know what he's like. He doesn't like to be. He doesn't like to know doesn't like people to know where he is and what he's doing. But I got that respect, and I wouldn't just text him for the sake of it. But I do have his number, and the reason is what I just told you.
Yeah, now we know that probably inviting Paolo Di Canio to talk on the pod is going to be way more difficult than sliding into any other person's DMs. Rory, take notes. This is usually your piece of the work.
Yeah, I'm going to have to start polishing up my skills, I think. But quickly, before we move on to Swindon Town, I wanted to ask you, do you remember who your debut was against for Swindon?
Yeah, so in the league, it was the first game of the season. We played Crewe Alexandra. They might not be in the league now. I don't know if they're in the league, but it was crazy because if I look back now, there wasn't a lot of people at the stadium. It was only, say, 7,000-8,000. But honestly, because I came from Scotland and I never played in front of a lot of fans, I honestly felt I couldn't even hear my voice. I felt I was playing at the Old Trafford with 80,000 people. I was shaking. I just couldn't believe it. And then when I look at videos of that game, I was just thinking that's just a normal League 2 game, just a normal crowd. But at the time, it felt, honestly, I was starstruck. I don't think I touched the ball for the first 45 minutes. I was just hiding and hoping that I wouldn't give the ball away. And it was. Took me a bit to get used to it, especially the weeks after that, because things weren't going well. We didn't start well with the Canio, and we were against Oxford, and that was a massive thing for the fans, and we were getting stuff chucked at the bus, and it was just the first experience of proper football. So that the debut was amazing, but at the time it was a scary experience.
Well, I'm delighted to hear that because Crewe Alexandra are my hometown team. So that is the team I grew up watching. That's the stadium I would go to. And I'm delighted to hear it being compared to Old Trafford. I'll take it. And it says that you won 3-0. So we're very good at giving away 3 points to other teams as well. So you're welcome for that one. Beautiful. Oh, that's great. That's made my day. So after Swindon, you moved on to Bradford for a short while, but then I wanted to talk a bit more about your time at Ross County, because this is where you make 33 appearances for the club, scoring 3 goals, and most importantly, you managed to win the Scottish League Cup. So how was that? That sounds like another kind of incredible experience.
Yeah, Ross County is a unique experience, and I don't know if you could ask the players that go and play up there. It's a good experience because it's a nice part of the world, but it's so far away that you just feel that you've got no connection with the real world. It's so isolated, and see if you live there with your family and stuff, you settled. It's fine. If you're like me, you're trying to go to Rome every 2 months. Forget it, because it takes you about a day and a half just to get out of the country. It's a difficult experience, but at the same time, because they're so isolated, that they're very close to each other, and the club is a proper family club. They all help each other in everything, whatever you need, they're there to help you. Just genuine people that I think they also appreciate that people come from bigger towns, even whether it's Edinburgh, Glasgow, or down south, and they do everything to make sure that you love the Highlands. Because in the end, I don't know if any of you two have ever been there. It's an amazing part of the world. It's just it's unfortunate that it takes that. But there's so many nice places and a complete different culture, because obviously that they've not been influenced by a lot of things that happen in bigger places, and some of the scenery and stuff. It's just amazing. But in terms of football, it's also Ross County is a club that even they don't have the resources in terms of fans and in terms of fans and stuff like that. But the owner is a famous, he's a rich businessman from the Highlands, and he's kind of put everything into the club. So everything is brand new. When you go there, you get a house, you get a car, and that season obviously he built a team that could compete in the SPL. We finished top six, and bear in mind, Dingwall, where Ross County's based, is a place of 5,000 people. So I think my street in Rome is about 5,000 people. So you can imagine that it's basically nothing. So to win the League Cup was completely, it was just unbelievable. And I missed the final because it kind of went with different shape, which was a disappointment for me. And you can imagine when you still feel part of it, but when you don't play, it kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth. And I couldn't enjoy as much as everyone else. But I was happy for everyone to see Hampden, where the finals get played in Scotland, is a brilliant stadium, and to see, 7,000 Ross County fans crying, and for the first time that someone that's actually put them on the map and people talk about them, it's just unbelievable. It was unbelievable for everyone, and it's an experience that I'm so happy to have had, and to be honest, I wish I could have stayed there a little bit longer, but I just couldn't deal with the distance. It was becoming a bit hard to travel back and forth from Italy, and I don't think I could have done it any longer. But it's a brilliant club.
Before we wrap up your career, which is still ongoing, I just wanted to ask you, why do you think you are one of the few Italians who has traveled abroad to play football? We kind of know this because this year we've been looking for stories similar to yours, and it's not that easy to find Italians that play abroad. So why do you think, we've already asked Filippo Giovagnoli, manager of Dundalk, why is it that Italians are kind of afraid to make a move like yours, and what could they learn by making a move like the ones that you made?
I think I've got a different story from a lot of players that go to England from Italy. First of all, I left when I was really young, so when you're older, I think it's difficult to leave all that behind, especially when you come from Italy, because let's be honest, Italy is an amazing place like England or Scotland, an amazing place to play football, but the lifestyle is not it's not as good as Italy. You kind of spend your whole winter locked in the house, and when you go out is to lock yourself in a pub with people that kind of get drunk and keep drinking until they can't even remember who they are. So it's a different. I love the UK. I don't love the lifestyle of people. It's very different. But because I came really young, I think I managed to get used to that and take the best things from British people. But I understand that when you're a bit older, it becomes really hard to get used to it. And after 2-3 years, you feel like you want to go back to Italy. But there's definitely a lot. I think it's a different, and obviously you meet all different people, but in the main, you meet a lot of honest and genuine people that, especially in football, they give everything for the sport, and there's still that loving, which in Italy, especially a lower level, is kind of lost because there's too, there's not enough fans that follow the club, because every year there's a risk of going bankrupt. So it's different. In England, what you do is take a club like Crewe Alexandra, because we just spoke about it, and there's people that live there. They could, if it was in Italy, they would go and support the closest big teams near the town. So, like for example, if you're from, say, Piacenza in Italy, you would go and support Milan and all the big clubs. Here, there is that community that supports the actual local club, and you don't even Bradford. Bradford is where I played. It's close to Leeds, Manchester, Liverpool, or whatever. But 20,000 people going to the stadium to watch a team that no disrespect, but we couldn't put two passes together. But the love for the community, the local club, massive, and it's something that you don't see in Italy. And these values of kind of passion and family and stuff is something that you can only experience in the UK. If you're young and you want to dedicate your life to football and you have a chance to go to the UK, I recommend it to everyone every time.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's a weird thing that both Italy and England share, that the players don't travel that well. So I'm not sure why that is. But I'm just going to quickly talk about the SPL before we kind of pick your brain about the Euros. And what was it like? Because in England, the SPL has, like, a lot of people look down on the SPL because they think it's only Celtic Rangers, right? But how did it feel to play in the top division of a country where there's a lot of history and there's a lot of history there? There's a lot of heritage. How did it feel to play against, like, for example, you played at Celtic Park? How did it feel to play in these kind of famous grounds and in this top division?
It's a brilliant experience. Scotland is unique because between Celtic and this rivalry between Celtic and Rangers is something that it's hard to explain. It's not like so before I moved to the UK, for me, Roma and Lazio were basically the biggest rival. Nothing closer. But when you go to Scotland, you realise that that's nothing compared to Glasgow Rangers and Celtic. When you play against them, just the atmosphere and everything, you just feel that that's for most people in Glasgow, football is life, and there's nothing else going on. You've probably seen it now with Rangers winning the league. What's happened? People just go completely mental, and so it is a brilliant experience. But as you said, there's a lot of, it's not just Rangers and Celtic. There's a lot of clubs with massive history. You know, for example, Motherwell, and there's loads of teams, even the lower leagues, clubs that have got about 200 years behind them, and amazing stadiums where you can actually feel the history of the club. And I think I probably appreciate it more because I'm from abroad, and you don't see that in Italy. But probably the Scottish players probably don't even know what how old stadiums are. But for me, they're all amazing experiences because, you know, football was born there, and you can just smell the history, the tradition, and I feel lucky. So sometimes the Scottish players, when we go to the stadiums, they say, like, why are you not in Rome now and you're here? Do you not feel you want to go back? But actually, I love it. I think I'm privileged to be able to maybe one day go back to Italy and tell my friends or my family, you know, what stories of all the experiences that I've done and all these places that I was able to see in stadium that I played in.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love Scotland as a country, and yeah, there's a lot of great historical clubs up there. You're right. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about the Euros. We're all getting excited about the Euros this summer. Firstly, I'm going to ask you about what you think of Italy's chances, and then we'll see what you think of Scotland. So how do you think Italy are shaping up before this tournament?
Brilliant. I think it's probably the strongest team since obviously 2006, a big year for us, and I think the last few years have been a bit underwhelming in terms of the selections. We just didn't have any interesting talents. All of a sudden, in a couple of years, you see all these amazing players and all playing the same team. And for the first time, you struggle to come up with 11. You want to put so many more. Looking forward to it. Somehow play against Scotland and beat them would make me the happiest guy in the world. But he's definitely also it's amazing to see them in the. You've obviously seen their last game against Serbia. It was just an amazing time. You just realised how much it meant for them to play a major tournament. And I think as Italians, we take things like this for granted because we expect it to be there every time there's a major tournament. And for Scottish people, this is an unbelievable achievement. And I could see like people crying and kids wearing Scotland tops all over the place, playing football with all the big names at the back. It was just an amazing thing, and they're definitely looking forward to it. And I'm sure they'll enjoy it. They'll enjoy it with. I think also the alcohol being sold this summer in Scotland will be very high.
Yeah, well, me and Tommy were talking about it at the weekend. I think in our drunken haze, I think I remember this conversation about saying there's very few places on the planet I would rank higher than wanting to be this summer than Scotland, because I think the atmosphere in Glasgow and in Edinburgh is going to be incredible when Scotland are playing. They're going to be really looking forward to it. And you're right, they've got a squad that I think actually looks pretty decent, so I think they could do well. As long as they don't do too well against England, I don't mind.
What do you think are Scotland's chances? Can they make it past their group? There is a big game against England at Wembley that Rory is terrified about. Do you think they could snatch an epic win at the symbol of English football?
To be honest, I can't see it. I think England have got every chance of winning this year. I think that they're same as Italy. They've got all these talents coming through together at the same time, and I think Scotland, sometimes when you play with passion, desire, and all that, obviously Scotland will have plenty of it. But it gets to a certain stage, a certain level, then it's hard to compete. Scotland are made up of players that play at maybe championship level, maybe SPL, and England talking about superstars, and at that level there is a big difference, and it would have to be a miracle in my eyes. But it's certainly a game that I can't wait to watch, because it'll be absolutely amazing. It was amazing last time they played each other in the 2-2 draw, and Scotland nearly won the game. So if he's anywhere near, we get the same entertainment we got last time, I'd be more than happy.
Right now, I don't know whether to trust your transfer market profile anymore or not. So you will tell me whether this is the truth or not. But it looks like you're a free agent at the moment. Do you confirm?
Yeah, officially I left. I know some are aware there'll be changes, and I'm looking forward to it. Getting to an age where obviously I'm also starting to think about different things, and so there are other priorities and stuff, things that I want to keep pursuing while I'm playing football. But also I would like to. Apart from a couple of injuries, I feel okay, so I want to keep playing and see what happens after that.
Maybe wrapping up the career in the boot at home in Italy.
Well, that would be my wife's dream, because she's been, I don't know how many years. So I don't know. I'm a bit scared because it is different over here, and when I talk to ex-teammates that played with me in England back, they always say to me, "Just don't come back. Maybe don't come back." It would be nice, I miss Italy, so I miss my family, and if that I could see him more often. Why not? But it would have to be a place where there are honest people like the ones I've been looking up to work with in the UK. So.
Well, Rafa, I don't know if you know, but Claudio Lotito and Simone Inzaghi are customary listeners of our pod. So maybe, I know that there are a lot of talks right now at Lazio for the future of the Biancocelesti. A lot of things are unsure, but you never know. Maybe a phone call will come.
I've been waiting for the last 20 years, so you see what happens.
And one last question before we let you go. Lazio are possibly looking for a new manager. If Simone Inzaghi was to leave, who would be your top choice for the Lazio managing job?
It's a hard question, because I'm praying that it's still Simone Inzaghi. I think he's one of the best managers in Europe, definitely. I would like for maybe an old Lazio legend to come back and see if they can build what Inzaghi's built over the years. One of the names is Sergio Conceição, which has been linked to Lazio. He's a good young manager that I think the fans will love.
Very nice. I think that's a good shout. So, yeah, before we let you go, Rafa, I'm just going to ask you a few questions, put you on the spot. Just the first thing that comes to your mind. So, the best player you have played with?
At first team level, Matt Ritchie.
Okay, nice. And the best player you've played against?
I would probably say Virgil van Dijk. When it's the first time that I felt a little boy playing against an adult, and he was just walking past people. Just a different world. Just lucky enough to be on the same pitch as him, but different world. I shouldn't have been on the same pitch.
Okay, the best stadium you've played at, or your favourite stadium you've played at?
It would have to be Celtic Park.
Nice. And I'm going to go for your favourite goal. Your favourite goal you've scored.
Favourite goal. Favourite goal. My debut against Liverpool. It was a left, a volley with my left foot, which is always my favourite way to score. Since I was young, I always wanted to score at the time. So it was amazing that it happened it was the winning goal in my debut. So that's probably the one that stuck in my head the most.
Finally, I think we know the answer to this question, but the best coach you've played under?
Best coach would be obviously De Canio by a country mile. Never come close to that level of knowledge and everything about him. It was just different.
Beautiful. Thank you. So again, Rafa, thank you for coming on. That was great. If our listeners want to follow you, where can they find you on social media?
Twitter. I think I can't actually remember my I think it's Raffa De Vita 20.
Okay.
Or 23. I don't know if I had to change it. Or Instagram is just my name, Raffaele De Vita.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thanks a lot for coming on. And have a great summer back in Italy and best of luck next season.
Thanks, Rory. Thanks very much and thanks for having me.
And it's quiz time. I don't know about you, Tommy, but I really enjoyed that interview. I found it really weird to be talking to someone who knew Paolo Di Canio so well. I found the 7 degrees of separation within the rule that you know everyone within the planet within 7 people. I feel like we're slowly getting a network of within 2 people of real football people, right?
Yeah, and one thing, and this goes out to, off the top of my head, I'm going to say these names: Thierry Odell, Milli Chandarana, Raffa De Vita, Filippo Giovagnoli, all these professionals that have taken the time to talk to no ones like me and Rory. And honestly, these people were they were never rushed. They were never dude, I got to go to training. It was always, they made us feel welcome, which is very important because we don't belong to the world of football. And these people have really opened the doors of this world to us. So, Rafa, you're the latest example of a great, great guest, which makes me think that there are the Neymars and there are the pieces of shit and everything, but it makes me think that football is a matter of discipline too. And all these people that we've talked to were so nice and everything. Mm-hmm. I think it's also the work ethic, all the hard work that they've done. They're happy to share their story, and we couldn't thank you. But yeah, the Di Canio thing, that was probably one of the bits that I was the most sad that it was kind of choppy when he talks about his wedding, and all of a sudden there is Di Canio on a big screen telling him, "Good luck, man, you're a great guy." And then at the end, the usual Italian banter, and to the wife, "What the fuck are you doing? Why are you married?" Yeah, that was beautiful, beautiful. Good job once again to Rory. He's a professional DM slider, so watch out, guys. It could happen to you very soon.
Yeah, I just want to mirror what Tommy said, really. It's incredible to have these interviews. And I think if I'd achieved what these people have achieved, I'd be wanting to tell people about it as well. So yeah, it's great to have you on. And here's to many more, right? Here are to many more guests in the upcoming season. But now, for more important matters, Tommy, it's time for the quiz.
It's time for the final quiz, man. Rory is leading 10-7. To beat him, I need to score 4. This would be unprecedented. Considering that I have done absolutely zero research, it's very unlikely, but I'm ready to take on the quiz.
Okay, so Tommy, what was your chosen subject?
My chosen subject was Italians in Serie A from the year 2000 to the current day.
Are you ready, Tommy?
I'm ready. 3, 2, 1, fire!
Which Italian holds the record for the oldest appearance in Serie A?
Gianluigi Buffon.
No. Which Italian broke the record this season to be the youngest player in Serie A?
It's the Bologna guy. I don't remember the name. Yeah, he's something like something religious. His name is like an angel or something like that. God damn it, Jesus! No, pass.
Okay, which Italian that is still playing has the most goals in Serie A?
Fabio Quagliarella.
Good. In 0102, Trezeguet held the top goal scorer record with an Italian striker from Piacenza. Who was it?
Filippo Inzaghi.
No. Which two Italians have combined for the most goals this season?
Ciro Immobile and pass.
Okay, which Italian has won the most Player of the Year awards between 2000 and 2012?
Francesco Totti.
No.
Damn it! I did terribly.
That was not good, Tommy. I don't know how to... I can't really polish that for you. That was not terrible. Good. But I win, right?
Yeah, you win.
Last game, I win.
Congratulations. Little happy music playing in the background.
Campione, campione.
Don't make me cry.
Well, right.
Wait, you singing that song like Conte doesn't mean that you're going to leave me alone next season.
I'll be staying until until Perez slides into my DMs. You can't get rid of me yet, Tommy.
All right, let's go through the questions again. I got only one right.
Okay, so which Italian holds a record for the oldest appearance in Serie A? It's Marco Ballotta at 44 years and 38 days. Which Italian broke the record this season to be the youngest player in Serie A? Wisdom Amy from Bologna. You were right.
Yeah, 15. You see, it wasn't something Catholic, but it was wisdom.
Yeah.
Something
when you said religious, I was like, I can see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
He was 15 years, 274 days old. Which Italian that is still playing has the most goals in Serie A? You got it right with Quagliarella. In 0102, Trezeguet shared the top scorer record with an Italian striker from Piacenza. It was Dario Hubner with 24 goals.
Yeah, Inzaghi was already at Juventus. He was already at Juventus, I believe, then, yeah.
Which two Italians have combined the most for goals this season? It's Berardi and Caputo with 5 at Sassuolo. Which Italian has won the most Player of the Year awards between 2000 and 2021? It was Pirlo with 3. He won it 3 years in a row as well.
He also won Manager of the Year. Wrong.
I was going to say, wait, what? Yeah.
Damn it. By the way, I forgot when we had all that manager talk at the beginning. I'm so stupid. The fact that Allegri goes back to Juventus means that Pirlo is free. He can come coach Inter Milan.
Oh, it's the dream. He can go back to his home. The first club, Pirlo, back to his home.
That would be a nightmare, man. If they appoint Pirlo, I'm going to take a 1-year hiatus from the podcast. I can promise you that. But that's the end of the 1 minute to kick off quiz. And Rory is our winner with 10 correct answers. Kudos to you, Rory. I'm going to let Rory say everything. This episode is the last episode of the regular Monday, Friday episodes, but it's not the last. Guys, it's been incredible to have you, to have this all year long. It's going to restart very soon. And thank you. Thank you to everybody. And the most customary listeners are going to get an email very soon. Rory, I'll let you do the homages.
So, yeah, here we are, the end of a long season. For some, it's been glorious. The Inter fans celebrating. For some, it's been painful. Myself crying at Arsenal frustration. We have seen empty stadiums, but then we've seen them fill again. We've seen new teams lift trophies, and we've seen old teams fade away. But one thing that is not fading away will be our pod. We will be back in August. And as in almost the great words of Simple Minds, don't you forget about us. We will see you. And on Saturday, we will see you for the Champions League final. We are live streaming. Me and Tommy promise to get pretty drunk and talk a lot of shit. So join us. It's our first ever live stream, guys. And if we do it to an empty room, it would be a bit awkward. So please come and join us. And as I said, don't you forget about us. We will see you on the other side.
Fuck!
What? What's that? Oh no, what's come through?
Fuck!
Oh no.
Inzaghi has been appointed Inter manager.
No, Tommy.
Fuck! Fuck!
Oh man, that's fucking brutal. Man, where have you got that?
Even scored again. Michael just texted me. It was like official Inzaghi. And if Michael says that, porca puttana. Is this all recorded too? Shit.
Can we put it in at the end? Man, put it in at the end.